session, okay. So in the last class, what we had learned is we had learned about like Postman with the CRUD operation. Then we learned about end-to-end connectivity with respect to the Angular to Node.js. So with respect to the Postman, we had seen 2 to 3 times. So once again, let me give the review part of end-to-end connectivity with respect to Angular to Node.js. Then we will proceed with the today's class. So for making an end-to-end connectivity, as you know very well, what are the important things you need to keep in your mind is, firstly, in index.ts, what are the things has to be there, and in authentication service, what are the things should be there. Then in TS and HTML file, like two-way binding, how you can able to take place. So these are the things you need to know it very clearly. So first of all, in like Postman with CRUD operation, if it is been clear, then you need to create the service. For creating a service, what you need to do, the syntax is ng as service name. So the service will be created. Once the service is being created, the next step is like in the service, what you are supposed to write down. In service, what you need to write down, once it is done, then automatically injectable, it will be there. Then the most important input statement which you need to have it is HTTP client. So HTTP client should be imported in the authentication service file, as well as in the app.module.ts file, you need to have HTTP client module. You need to have HTTP client module. app.module.ts file. We have imported the material.ts file itself. So here we are having HTTP client module. Where did I keep it? HTTP client module is over here. So we need to import HTTP client module in app.module.ts file, as well as in the authentication service file, you need to have a HTTP client. So these two parts are important. The next thing is in a constructor, you need to have the HTTP client. You need to initialize it. Once this is done, then inside your method, you can able to invoke a method. How you invoke the method in a Postman, the same way you could able to invoke it from the authentication service also. So here, like in Postman, like you used to give like get or delete or put or post, whatever you have give you wanted to give it, the same you can able to give it over here also. So return this dot http get. Then this dot domain is nothing but I have already explained about the environment folder for you. So in the same folder, I'm having a TS file. Inside the TS file, I have kept the variable known as domain, and there I have kept this HTTP localhost 6644. 6644 is my port number for addressing the node. So this you could able to use it at the same location, or else you can able to assign the variable itself. So in authentication.service, instead of this dot domain, you could able to write down the same over here. Right? Either you can able to do it in this way, or else you can able to assign the value onto the variable, and you can able to mention the variable also over here. Both the way you can able to do it. So here, this is what for the example for get, then post also. So in yesterday's class, we had learned about how to fetch a value from the backend and how to display it on a table. This is what in the yesterday's class we had learned. So get is nothing but how to get this value. So we need to have this part already we had learned in the Postman with CRUD operation that we have learned. Now for getting the value means what? Once I'm getting it, I have to showcase in some other location. So which I have decided to show it in table. So in order to show those things in a table, what we supposed to do? We need to have a HTML page for that, right? So in a HTML page, in the prior, past 1 week, we were looking after the mat tab, right? So mat tab is nothing but, this is nothing but mat tab. This is nothing but mat tab. So click, while you are clicking on it, it is moving on to the next pages. So everything you could able to keep it at single place. Either you could able to go ahead with the mat dialog, or else like mat tab. whichever you are feeling comfortable or whichever the client is asking for you, the presentation way. Meaning of that is each and every user is going to have a different sort of opinion how the UI should be. So you need to get a input and accordingly you need to design all those things. So you need to have a clear vision. There are different ways are there to showcase the values. So here I have used already math dialog also we had gone through. So, but here I'm just showing you with respect to the math tab. So we had already gone through with the math tab in the practice session also. So now how to fetch the value from the backend and display it on a math table. This is what in the yesterday's class we had seen. So once I'm giving the revision part of it. So what we are supposed to do that, the thing is here we need to have a TS file. In TS file for the table call, the most important thing is we need to fetch the value. So for fetching the value, what we need to do? We need to invoke authentication service. From the authentication service, invoke view all details in API.ts file. So how it moves on? Authentication service, it moves on to the index.ts file, then it moves on to the API, then it moves on to the controller, then it moves on to the model. Model will be moving ahead to the PSQL APM. There it is making a connectivity by taking the user ID, password, and all those things. Once the connection is being established, then it is going to execute the query over there. And once the query is over, whatever the result is being used, that is passing back to the controller. Controller is sending back to the API. API is sending back to index. Index back to my authentication service. Then it is returning back to my TS file. So this is what it is happening. Here it is a flow, like front end as well as back end, both it is going to be there. So it is starting from HTML to TS, then moving to the authentication service, moving to the index.ts file, moving to API TS file, then controller TS file, then model TS file, moving to PSQL APM.ts file. Connectivity will be established. Then coming back to the model.ts file, executing the query. Once the query is being executed, coming back to the, it is returning back to the controller.ts file. It is returning back to the API.ts file, coming to the index, then moving to authentication service, moving back to the TS file. So finally, I will be getting the output in the TS file. So this TS file, we are going to set it back to my HTML. So it is a cycle starting from HTML and it will be end to the HTML if you wanted to get the values. If you are going to insert it, it will be moving to the backend. And once again, it is going to send back to the HTML to show whether it is inserted successfully or there is an error. So anyhow, it is going to be a cycle only. So see the flow is once I'm giving authentication view all details, it is moving to the authentication service. Then it is moving back to the API view all details. So what happens? It is coming to the index.ts file. It is coming to index.ts file. So it is looking after the /API and there I'm checking out view all details inside the mount routes. So mount routes means where it is available. It is available inside the API TS file. So it is coming to this place. So at this location, it is looking after for the view all details. Looking at this place, view all details, and it is a get also. So it is moving to the next statement. In the next statement, it is invoking a get all details, which is available in CMN. CMN is nothing but controller. So moving back to the controller place. When it is coming to the controller, once again, it is going to check out where the view all details is there. So here they have written, we have written as get all details, right? So in the get all details, it is coming to the first statement, init class. What is mean by init class? Init class is nothing but object of initialized class, which is available under the model initialize.ts file. So coming to the initialize.ts file, at this location, it is going to check out where the get all details is there. So in this location, it is looking after that PSQL APM F1DB query. So moving ahead to the PSQL APM.ts file, in this place, it is going to looking after the config constant details. So coming to the config constant.ts file, at this place, it is going to take the username, password, and all those things. Once those parts are collected, it is coming back to the model.ts file. So here it is going to return the value. Where it is going to return? It is going to return back to the controller. So when it is coming back to the controller, at this place in the controller, what it is going to do? It is going to check it out whether the result is success. If it is success, return the result dot rows. Return the result dot rows, which is going to have a JSON value. Which is going to have a JSON value. If there is an error, put an error message over here itself. Okay. So once it is returning, it is going back to the API.ts file. In API.ts file, once again, what I'm doing, once I'm getting it, I'm going to make it as res.json result. This is what I'm going to return back. So this will be moving ahead to the authentication service, as well as it is moving to the TS file also. So coming back to the ts.ts file. So at this place, we got a result, and in this location result dot success, if it is success and if there are number of row count, assign the value into the mat table data source. So data source means so much important, which is going to have all the value details in that place only. So you need to have a data source. So that data source only you are going to mention it in the table. You are going to mention it in the table. So data source is equal to table call. So here you have used the variable known as table call. So in this location only, all the rest.json value will be there. So that you are going to assign it to the data source variable. So this part will be taking out array values. If 42 values are there, all will be as considered as array value. It is going to take down only the header value, and accordingly all the values will be displayed. I don't want to do the looping part at all. All will be taken place with the help of mat table data source. So with the help of ng container, with the help of mat column definition, I could able to do it clearly. So block, then I can able to have room, then row, column, all those things I can able to do it. The most important part is displayed columns. So this is the part which is going to give a meaningful information at the front end. So which are the attributes are supposed to be displayed? Which are the header column definition has to be displayed? That should be mentioned in the displayed columns. So here I have mentioned the details over here. So displayed columns, block, room, row, column, total, property. So these values will be displayed at that place. So once this is done, then I will be getting an output like this. Already in the class, prior classes, I have explained about the pagination and all those things also. Mic or projector. If I'm giving, I will be getting a filtering process also and pagination also. So if you have doubts with respect to the filtering and pagination also, you can ask me. Sorting also being the same way. So all those things are done with respect to the table. Okay. Now, the next part is, right now what you have done. So in today's class, what we are going to learn. If these parts are being clear, shall I proceed with the today's objective? Shall I proceed? Today's objective is to make you learn how to get a value at the UI page and how to send it back to the Node.js and check it out in a backend also. This part. And secondly, with respect to the login. So the same way, user ID and password, if it is correct, then move on to the next page. Otherwise, put an error message. So this is the two objective I'm going to teach you in today's session. Whatever I had gone through right now, till now, with respect to the end-to-end connectivity as well as mat table, if those things are being clear, shall I proceed with the further? Shall I proceed? Okay. So, in today's class, like what we are going to learn is, see, table details in the first page, in the first tab, I had shown you the table for getting the value. Okay. For the same table, which is available in my backend, consider here. I'm having a table known as hall details. Whatever there in my hall details, those values only I displayed in my mat table. Now I wanted to insert a value to my backend. That should be reflected in my table also. Okay, so this is what we are going to do it at first. So for that, okay, see, look at here. You could able to see how many number of rows are there. 44 rows are there. Totally 44 rows are there. Now what we are going to do, we are going to write down values over here. I'm going to give block room. Likewise, I'm going to give it, and it is going to just, I'm showing you output first of all. Successfully inserted. Okay. See, you could able to see these things. So for now, let us see how many number of rows are being present in a table as well as in a backend also. See, you could able to see one row has been inserted. 44 was there. Now it becomes 45. Now it becomes 45. You could able to see the last value as test OM5. So this value has been inserted. How it has been inserted, that is what we are going to learn right now. So for that, what you need to do is, now let us move ahead from the HTML to the model.ts. Okay, so for that, look at here, we need to design a page. First of all, we need to design a UI page. So already we had gone through with the mat tab. So these part are there. Okay, just for making my two input fields to be centered. Hope my screen is. Okay, see, mat tab is there. Just for keeping my two input field to be center, I have kept the align center. You can able to use like FX layout align also, like center also you could able to give it. As I had given the same over here also, FX layout align center autocomplete. Then I need to have a row wrap. Those things I can, styles and all those things already we had gone through. Sir had also explained it. So I'm not going to focus on those things. So see, look at here. This is the part we need to do it. So we need a one input field. We need one input field. And I need to have a input box where I need to have a label in the same place itself. So for that only we need to use appearance is equal to outline and float label is equal to always. So this part we need to mention it clearly. So once this part has been there, then you will be getting a output in such a way where input field and the label box will be at the same location. Likewise, you will be getting. So once these are over, then there are different ways are there. Like how to get a value from the HTML to the TS file. In order to get a value from the HTML to TS file, I can able to go ahead with ng model or else form control name or else ng form. These three ways are there in order to retrieve a value from HTML to the TS file. So many examples also, I hope so, Abhirami ma'am also explained during the practice session, as well as sir also had explained it. So right now I'm going to focus on ng model for you. So in this location, at this place only, you can able to write down either the ng model or else form control name. So here I'm writing ng model equal to block. Okay. So if I'm writing over here ng model is equal to block, then what I supposed to do in my TS file? In my TS file, I need to have a variable known as block, a string. You can able to mention. Presently, I had given us any. You can able to mention it as a string also. String and room also any. Like because I'm having two mat input field. Two mat input field. First mat input field I had kept ng model block, and for the second I have kept ng model room. Okay. So these two part I have to do it in the HTML page. And these two things should be there inside my form only. I need to, it is like if we are using a form control name, then it is mandatory you need to write down with respect to the form. If it is ng model without the form also, you could able to do it. But if you are going to do it in such a way, make sure that you have written, are you going to do the validation also for each and input field? Then you need to do the validation in the HTML page or else in the TS file. So presently, I'm not going to focus on the validation and all those things, just how to get a value from the HTML to the TS file and moving to the backend. So this is the part I'm going to touch it out. So what you can able to do, simply you had kept two block as well as the room as any. Then what you have done in this place, see at this location in HTML, what I have done two input field. Then I have kept one field known as one component known as button, and in button I have invoked a method known as save, which is available in my TS file. So once I'm clicking a button insert, it is going to check out whether save method is available in my TS file or not. So it is coming to the save method in my TS file. So at this location, what it is going to do is parameter, let param equal to, because I need to make it as an object and that I need to pass it. So what I'm going to do, block is equal to this dot block. Room is equal to this dot room. What is mean by this dot block and this dot room, which is nothing but ng model name, which you have represented as block any and room any. Once that is done, then whatever it has been typed it over there, those things will be reflected in the param also. So here you will be getting a value which is typed in the input field. Those two values will be taken it over here, and those two values you are going to pass it as a parameter to the insert hall details, which is available in my authentication service. So here you could able to see, when I'm going to pass a parameter, I need to mention it as post. So this post means the same way I need to have the insert hall details. Anyhow, index.ts, then it move on to the API. Those things I'm not repeating it once again. So in API.ts file, you could able to see I'm having post over here. So it will be checking out whether the post method is being available in my API.ts file or not. So at this location, it is coming to this place. And now the next part is similar to my postman for getting a value from the, what I can say, either Angular or the postman, you need to use request.body. This is the thing in order to get the value, because here I have not used param. I'm passing insert hall details of param. In my authentication service also, it is like insert hall details, where I'm going to pass it like comma param. Likewise, I'm passing it, right? Then how it will be done it in API.ts file? So I need to use a predefined property request.body. Likewise, I need to use it. So this request.body, I'm assigning it to one variable, and that I'm going to pass it to a method known as insert hall details. Once again, the same process, moving to the controller. It will be moving on to the initialize controller.ts file, and in the initialize controller.ts file, once again I'm invoking the model.ts file. Coming back to the model.ts file, in model.ts file, it will be move on to the pscale apm.ps file and connectivity will be taken place. Once the connection is being taken, then it is going to execute the query text as well as the query param. It is going to consider it as a query and execute it. So at this place only, what you can able to do, insert into hall details, where I'm going to pass only two values, block comma room, values of $1 and $2. What do you mean by $1 and $2? It is a prepared statement. So here I need to mention this is $1 represents block, $2 represents room. Likewise, I need to mention it clearly. Once this part is over, then I can able to get a output at like this. Once I'm clicking it, you could able to get it over here. See, test OM5. Likewise, I can able to get it at this location. The same way, let us do it one more time. Here, let me give like QQQ. and room number AAA, something likewise, and I'm giving insert. So once it is being successfully inserted in table details, you need to refresh it, or otherwise when I'm moving from first tab to the second tab, automatically once again get all details should be there, because I need to refresh it. See, even in a backend, if you are moving, it will be representing it as 45 only. You need to once again run to get a newly inserted value. Refresh is required. So here you could able to see, let it get run. 46 right now it becomes. It becomes as 46. So the last value, whatever we have inserted, that is being reflected at this place. The same you could able to see it in backend also. See, you could able to see the value at backend too. The same, whatever it is there in a backend, that is being reflected in my table, right? Hope up to this part, if it is being clear, shall I proceed with the login or you need some time? Is it clear? Shall I proceed with the login or you have any doubts? Students, I'm asking you guys. Okay. Only one student. Why the strength is very less? See, before going ahead with this new webinar link, at least we might be having a little more strength. But it for past 2 days, yesterday, okay, fine, considering it as a Ugadi festival. But today also the strength is only 34. Please convey your friends to come and attend the session. So tomorrow, sir will be joining back and sir will be proceeding further. So in today's session, let us move ahead further. See. So once my user ID and password is being correct, then I can able to move on to the next page. If it is wrong, then I should not move ahead. See. See, I have used, actually it is a hash password. So for insertion, you need to go ahead with the same way, then only you could able to get it. Like we have not gone through with the encryption and decryption and all those things. So I had used the email ID as well as the name for the, just to check it out whether these two are same, then proceed further. Otherwise, don't proceed further. So this is the thing I have done. So the same thing, like once security with respect to the encryption, decryption, as well as the reusable components I had thought, then you will be coming to know about the hash password as well as the salt also. So first of all, before going ahead with this, let me show you how you are supposed to write on the content. See. Okay. So this is the page for login, right? UI page for the login. So here also we have used the NG model only. That's why the same way I have used it for the new input field also, insertion also. No need to get confused. So if you are going ahead with the NG model, proceed further the same way. If you're going ahead with the form control name, proceed further with the same way. Both are going to be as similar only. So at this place, what we have used, I need to invoke a method, right? I need to invoke a method known as click equal to. Here, I need to invoke a method. When I'm going to click on that button, it needs to invoke a method known as onSubmit. I need to invoke a method known as onSubmit. So when I'm going to click on onSubmit method, then what it needs to do, it move on to the onSubmit method. So in this onSubmit method, what I have written, username and password has to be taken. Username as well as the password. These two values has to be taken. As it is NG model, you know very well username any as well as password any we have written. Then email this dot username and password this dot password I have written. See here you could able to see I have written as here ID name. The most important thing is NG model. Whenever you are using, you need to write down name also. You need to write down name also. It is mandatory. You need to write down. These two parts are mandatory. You need to write down NG model name as well as the NG model as well as name. So likewise, we have written both those things. Then coming back to the TS file, when on submit button has been there, then email as well as the password you have fetched it out and you are passing those parameter to the login page. Coming to the login, which will be moving ahead to the authentication service. Coming to the authentication service, as we are passing a parameter, we have used the post method. Now in the post method, it is coming to the login page. It is coming back to the login page. Wait. So it is coming to login. It is coming to the login page. So in the login page, as similar to the insertion, the same way request.body has been taken and you could able to send pass the value to the controller. So coming back to the controller, and in controller also you are going to invoke a login method in my initialize.ts file. Coming to the initialize.ts file, and in login method, I'm having a table known as users. Okay, where I'm having an email as well as the name, which you have seen it over here. See, email as well as the name which is available. Hash password. So instead of using the hash password, I have just let it be two fields, right? If two fields are going to be right, then move ahead. Likewise, I had done. So email, student as well as the name. So if these two are going to be similar, whatever 320 rows are there. So among these 320 rows, if the email and the password is going to be, name is going to be similar, then proceed further. Likewise, we are going to do it. So select start from users where email is equal to $1 and name is equal to $2. Meaning of that is what? If email is going to be there and name is going to be there, if at least one row count is going to be there, if row count is going to be greater than 0, then meaning of that is it is being present in the table. If it is less than 0, then the particular row is not being present. Meaning of that is it is not a valid user ID password. This is what we are going to do it. So here email ID as well as the password has been done. So this will be moving back to my initialized controller. So in this initialized controller, we have to write down the important point. So what point we need to do it? We need to know about the result.row count. So result.row count, if result.success, if it is success means the query is being executed successfully. So if the query is being executed successfully, the next part is what you need to do. If result.row count, if result.row count is going to be greater than 0, okay, if it is greater than 0, then and then only you are going to send this message. Or else you can able to write down over here the same thing. Result.success, and you could able to write it over here. Result.row count. Row count is going to be greater than 0. If it is success and the result.row count is going to be greater than 0, then send a message. Otherwise, send some sort of error. You can, this is like nothing but error messages. Result.message, whatever it is there, that is going to be reflected back over there. So now controller.ts file is also over. Moving back to the API.ts file. See, this you need to understand. Row count is a predefined property. So you could able to use it as similar to the rows. You could rows is nothing but what? How many number of rows have been there? That will be written back as a JSON file. The same way you are having a property known as result.row count also. This is what? The same thing you could able to send it as row count. This is nothing but a variable which you could able to assigned. These are the values are going to be there for the particular variable. Then API.ts file. In API.ts file, it is going to return back the result, and that is moving back to my TS file. So in TS file, I'm going to either I can able to restrict it over here, or else I can able to restrict it over there also. Here also I could able to mention if result.success and result.row count is greater than 0, then navigate to my new app. Otherwise, you can able to give the alert message. At this place also you could able to give it, or else in this place also you could able to give it. Both I will show you what makes the difference. The difference is in TS file, if you are writing, you could able to show the alert box in this place. If you are showing the error message over there, there also you could, let me show you the difference of those things. See, okay, let me, it is showing undefined because my error messages, like what I can say, it is moving ahead to the controller.ts file, initialize controller. In this location, you could able to see it is undefined. Meaning of that is instead of showing alert message in my TS file, it is showing the result.message. See, here you could able to see. So here also we have written result.message. Let me make it as value over here. So I'm getting it in alert box. So whatever I'm mentioning it over here, where it is not a right password. So let me write down incorrect password instead of incorrect password. Let me write down like this. Okay. So I'm getting the answer as incorrect password. Why I got undefined is, the reason is here at this location, where it is initialize dot controller. Here what we have done, see, if both the conditions are going to be satisfied, then only I'm going to send a message, right? So then only I'm going to give a send a message as success, and I'm going to send the result dot rows also. Okay, anyhow it is going to be 0 row. Whether it is going to be if it is failure, then it is going to be 0 row. If it is more than that, then it will be returning the respective row. Okay, so here success false is coming and it is sending a result dot message. So result dot message means what? I'm going with the condition. Actually, the query is being correct only, but yet I have kept both the condition at the same place. That's why it is showing undefined. If you are going to split it out like this, if result is success and result dot row count is greater than 0, give some sort of condition. Else, then give some sort of another return statement. If you are going to give it in such a way, then undefined value will not be there. You will be sending a proper error message over there. So this is the thing you could able to make it done. So here itself you could able to do it. If result dot success, if it is result dot success, okay, and here you could able to mention if result dot row count, if it is greater than 0, okay, if it is greater than 0, then you are going to send a message like this and like this. Else part over here itself you could able to mention it. Here you could able to send the same part, but instead of sending it, you could able to mention success as false. Success as false, and you could able to send row count, result dot row count, whatever it may be. Instead of result dot rows, you could able to pass some message, whatever it is there. You could able to mention it as result dot message. Here you could able to mention result dot message, or user defined message also you could able to do it. Incorrect password, likewise also we could able to write it. Time is up. Rajesh, 5 more minutes. Let me complete this and then we can stop the recording.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Okay, so this part is over. Then you can able to check it out over here. See, incorrect password, I could able to get it over here also. And instead of result dot message, at this location in TS file, you could able to do the same thing. In TS file, because we had given result dot success instead of success, there we have made it as success is false. Likewise, we had given. So obviously, it is moving ahead to the incorrect password itself. So instead of incorrect password, let me write down here result dot message. See, I'm getting undefined symbol. So instead of undefined, I need to have an incorrect password. Likewise, I wanted to get it. Then what I can able to do it is in my initialize controller.ts file, instead of sending a message as result.message, I can able to pass it over here as incorrect password. Sorry, refresh we need to do. Wait, have I saved it? Yes, I have saved. Success false. So when it is false, then it is coming to my TS file. It is coming to my it is coming back to my result dot message. So here which it is coming result dot success. If it is result dot success, fine, it is coming. Else what means result dot success is going to be opposite. So when it is opposite, what value I am going to pass it over here in initialize controller. The conditions are going to be here. If result dot success, then I'm going to pass it inside if part is coming. Else another else part I had defined result success as false, and row count also I'm doing, and result is nothing but undefined how it coming, whether it is executing this result dot message. Okay, else part, let me check it out. Why it is showing undefined? Okay, it is considering whatever the value I'm getting it over here. See, look at here at the 22nd line, you could able to get the result values in console at the place of 22nd line. See, here I'm getting false, but the result is incorrect password, but result is incorrect password. Result.message is not incorrect password. I'm having as result as incorrect password. So here I need to write down incorrect password as result. As result, I think, right? Let me check it out once again. It is result or result. So result. I need to pass it as result. Inside my result, I'm having variable as result. So I can able to check it out over here. I need to give okay. Let me check it out why it is coming here. I'm having value as data. What value it is there? I'm getting the so I'm getting the value from there as like incorrect password over here. The same value has to be reflected at this place, but it is coming with respect to inside the data it is there. So anyhow, so you could able to pass a value at this place here direct message also you could able to pass it, or else you could able to pass it from the controller also. Let me check it out once again, and in the tomorrow's practice session I will give you the input like what data I think. So result.data we can able to make it because it is available under the result.data only. So the same thing. So once these part are over, then you could able to log in it properly with the help of users. In a users table, whatever the user ID, email ID as the password, if it is the same, if you are giving, then it will be move on to the next page. So this is what it has been there in a login page. In a practice session, let us see during what sort of resolution we can able to give it for those things. Rajesh, we can stop the recording.